reaction. It is a forge. Okay. Get the pool. Get the pool. Get the pool. Okay. Not bad. Now all you need to do is not fuck this up. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So he's already way behind. Alright. That's fine. He has no expo. We're looking good. You're at a huge advantage now, because as long as you make sure you know when he's expanding, you know his tech is delayed. So there's really nothing else that can threaten you past that cannon rush. So why are you making 8 Zerglings?
Good.
The only way you can fuck this up is by attacking in, limiting your own economy, and giving him the chance to catch up.
Hive clusters birthed in
Like, I'll forgive you for 8lings as long as you don't build any more. But what's stopping you from taking a third besides your own ingrained mental process of taking a third is scary and it takes too long and is hard? I wasn't committed with 8lings. You should commit to something when you have 500 fucking minerals, though.
Your brood has found something to chew on.
I feel like you're thinking too much, and that's a big problem. No, like, that's it. That's it. This is the answer. This is your problem. You have 1,300 minerals against a player who has literally no way to attack you because he built a forge, an expansion, and then a bunch of cannons, and you couldn't even come to the conclusion that a third base would be okay and not a huge risk. Since you have such a massive mental block keeping you from getting a third base, it's also keeping you from getting any further, because if you just, like, that's how you compound. If your advantage is that he cannot attack you. If he can't attack you, take more bases. How is he going to attack them? Put 2 Zerglings there if you're still scared of a fucking cannon rush. What is the lair for? On 2 bases against a player who has 3 cannons. He built 450 minerals of cannons in front of his base. He built a hatchery and a half of cannons in front of his base, and you still couldn't come to the conclusion before 1,300 fucking minerals that maybe expanding was in the cards. This is why you have a problem with capital ships. And now we're going to try to do everything at once, which is get all the tech. Now, it's very important that we forget that upgrades exist, because another thing you can really do to get an advantage over someone who went for an early rush or early attack that delays their tech is to forget about upgrades, so that way they have plenty of time to catch up. When your opponent built 3 cannons outside their base, was trying to cannon rush, failed, and they're getting +1 air armor before you start your Evo chambers, you may have fucked up.
Evolution complete.
You're still trying to find a way. You might not be committed. No, this is even worse. Here's the problem. This is even worse. By the way, air armor. What the fuck, right? Like, it's any upgrade. This is even worse. You know you shouldn't really try to kill him, but you're still trying to find a way. Don't. Do what that other motherfucker did. Take 4 bases, get 60-something drones, and max out on Roach Hydra and collect your ladder points.
Now I have your attention.
You can max out on Roach Hydra. Well, you can max out with those upgrades on Roach Hydra by 8 minutes. And that's not even particularly quick. You can do it by 10 minutes, and that's still fine. At all, actually, is pretty good. But the struggle is going to begin very soon. You have 1,150 minerals. You've got 9 larvae. You're not even remotely close to supply blocked. You've only got 2.5 bases. And now we're doing an 8-ling drop against a 2-base Protoss. You're attacking someone who has less bases with nothing and slowing yourself down doing it. I bet these 8-lings are really going to change the fucking trajectory of this game. Yeah, just get those lings in there. Much more important. And motherfucker over here charging up his Void Rays, not understanding that all it does is make them move slower and look scarier. It doesn't do any extra damage to Zerglings, but neither the Zerg or the Protoss player probably under-fucking stand that.
Counter the enemy. Your brood has found something to chew on.
And now we panic. Now we panic to the extent that the first priority is not to spend our 1,900 minerals on drones or any fucking thing else. We're at How did you get behind in workers? How did that happen? How have you... Because you made 16 random-ass Zerglings, you tried to do a useless Zergling drop, you were too scared to take a third base against someone who had no units because your inner demons are scarier than the actual Protoss. He's going for a single carrier on 1.5 base economy with air armor, and the only thing you could do to make the mighty capital ships actually mighty is cower in fear for 10 minutes at the fear of Protoss existing, and then when they finally do come into fruition and have real units, you have nothing. So, you're no longer allowed to build Zerglings at all. You're no longer allowed to get Zergling speed at all. You're no longer allowed to scout beside your first Overlord. And even if it does scout, I don't care. That's it.
Can't.
You might be like, but how do I win without Zerglings? Go check it out on YouTube. We have plenty of examples of the differences between someone who builds random Zerglings and those who don't. You're doing right now, at 7.5 minutes, you could have been doing this exact same thing with this exact same economy.
Good.
2 minutes
Now
quicker.
I have your attention.
That is the difference between him having a third base, 3 random Void Rays, and essentially 2 carriers, and having 1 Void Ray and no third. Like, you just essentially hit pause on your entire build for 2 minutes to do nothing.
Can't do that without
Essentially nothing. 62 drones isn't like get every single tech in the tree economy either. That is mid-game tech economy. Oh, we're gonna go Infestors, and we're gonna go Lurkers, and we're gonna go Hive, and we're gonna go Neuroparasite. Okay. With all that gas we have.
Nothing left in that mineral cluster.
Now here's the thing. Because he's such a ridiculous turtle toss, you still have time to make it right. All you have to do right now is, instead of attacking with, say, 70 army supply of units that aren't going to win the game, buckle down and max out on essentially anything that hits up. Max out. But if you go back and forth with half an army, and he eventually gets 15 carriers or Tempests or whatever, it's your fault, not his. He has as much average APM as a pocket watch. Like, and he only needs half that to do what he's doing. Your supply blocked at 152, so instead of building Overlords, what are we doing? What are we doing? You saw Void Rays. Instead of building Overlords to get on supply block, we're gonna slow siege with Lurkers. There we go. By the way, the charging up of the Void Rays does nothing. Also, I'm not sure why we built Lurkers, except to waste about 1,000 gas. Now thankfully, this is real kind of you. You finally are going to give the Void Rays something they can charge up on, which is Corruptors. So that's really nice of you. Did you not get the memo that he was building a bunch of air units when he didn't attack you for 12 minutes, built a bunch of cannons, and had Void Rays? Is now when we're coming to that realization? Thank you, Benji's House, for that sub. But Corruptors are against carriers? He has... Okay, let's take a look. No, let's see what attacked you. Let's take a look here. Okay, he's got 5 carriers. I'll give you that. That's 5 carriers. I'll almost forgive you. I'll almost do it. Good thing we got upgrades for those corruptors and not for other units, right? Good thing. Remember when we spent all that gas? Oh, there are the infestors. Okay, okay. That's the units lost tab, by the way. Just, that's where we are right now. You might have remember a little while back, if you were here, how I mentioned Zerg players' habits of building all their stuff in their main and losing it to a handful of units? That's an incredible fungal. Where was the second fungal? It's like, nope, that's all I got, baby. All right.
Mineral field.
Infested Terrans are good, by the way, in case you didn't know. Like, this is like, what you're doing right now is like if a band is trying to play a song, but they all start at different parts. And you might be doing some things fine, but they need to be, the other things need to go on at the same time. Now, just imagine if the Protoss player had spent his 6,000 minerals and 2,300 gas, how screwed you would be.
Oh, great. Your Zerg have me.
Yeah, the lurkers were definitely to counter the carriers, too. I mean, you're pretty much already screwed, because you shot yourself in the foot so many times, you're slowly bleeding out. Or at least going to end up with gangrene. So, like, when you built those Zerglings and dropped, you gave up on the game, is what you did. You were trying to find a way to kill a person who had less bases and was turtling at the expense of your own economy and tech. So you already lost there. But, now we watch him bleed out. Like, Mineral Parasite is fine, but you also need fungals and infested Terrans.
Looks like your brood has
Also, Hydras would be fine when you realize he's building 20 Void Rays, but you have +3 ranged attack, which benefits infested Terrans and Hydras. You have +2 Carapace on your Corruptors, which does very little. Doesn't help you kill anything faster. Except he lost his Hydra Den. Oh yeah, I forgot. You only get one of those a game.
forces have encountered the enemy.
You know what's more important than maxing out with our 39 larvae on site? Even 17 more Corruptors. And he doesn't even have Templar. Usually the excuse is that there's Storm. Storm is what ties it all together. Storm means that mass infested Terran or mass Corruptor can't just win on its own. But no, we're gonna get 20 more Creep Tumors instead of 20 more Corruptors. Like, this is actually a game where Corruptors can win, which is kind of rare. I'm not saying they will. Yeah, well, you brought this on yourself. Infestors were the right call, but Neural Parasite was the worst possible spell you could use in any of these fights. It's not like you have to pick between one of the three. You can use multiple abilities at the same time. Somehow he hasn't killed you yet. You have upgraded infested Terrans, and you're like, I'm gonna steal 2 carriers and then lose my infestors. That's the plan. Jesus Christ. Here's my solution. If your opponent is on less bases than you, and scout around, then you don't attack till you're maxed out. That's it. If you keep trying to attack, you're just gonna keep shooting yourself in the foot, because you have no idea when or why. But if you max out, you have a likely chance of actually beating him. But when you try to attack before you're maxed out and he's on less bases, you're just slowing yourself down from the... Now, we're going to watch now against a Terran, but I assume it's going to be very similar. It's going to be like, defend a small attack, try to counterattack, fail, forget about all the tech and upgrades, and then get run over. Thank you, Soaring Quails, for the tier 2. And for 5 months. Let's just... Since we already have the theme, I'm just gonna point it all out. Your drone scouting. Unfortunately, that means you're gonna have to react. Like, what was the point of the drone scout? If, okay, there's a, what? Okay, you know what? I can justify the baneling nest, that's fine. That makes sense. You don't know exactly. That's not a bad call. You know what's a better call? More queens. The fuck? Queens. If they have not mass barracks, queens. They counter everything. Build more queens. And don't you dare try to go baneling bust him. Where are your queens? You only have 4 queens. If only, like, you go kill the fucking Liberator. With your, you do have 4 queens. The queens can kill. Okay, I don't know if usually queens help people, but you have them, and now you're not even attacking. The point was to see if there's a proxy or something unusual. You see, here's the fucking problem. You keep thinking. Everything you think is wrong or misguided. Stop thinking, start building 200 supply of Roach Hydra. Jesus. I do kill it? No, no, no. It has already killed you. You do not kill this Liberator. Even if the Liberator spontaneously combusted right now, it has won. That Liberator, it racked up 8 kills on drones. It denied mining for a full minute, and you spent this whole last minute contemplating how to kill 1 Liberator when you already had 4 queens. Like, it has already won. Jesus Christ. You went to 1,000 minerals despite losing all those rounds. And once again, we're in a scenario where, like, it's too scary to take a third at the third, so might as well take it at the edge of my main. What are we even doing now? Scouting. No, stop it. No more scouting. Fuck that. Everything you... When you do scout, you either don't react to any information, or you overreact. And it's taking too much time to do either one. So stop thinking, stop scouting, stop having 1,500 minerals with 14 larvae and not supply blocked. More shit counters less shit. This is not a strategy game. This is a mechanics game. It's who can hit their keys in the right order more often. And maybe, if you do that well enough and fast enough, you get to start thinking again. Like, you have 2,000 minerals. You could literally have 40 more drones, and you almost have the larva for it. But instead, yeah, this is my point. Like, even though you scouted there was a potential for air units, you got in with the first fucking Overlord. You got in, and you saw he had a 1-1-1. Yet, a single air unit, and probably the easiest to counter overall of air units, came into your base. And not only did you not have spore crawlers, not only did you not have queens in position, but you did have queens, and it still killed 8 drones, and kept you from mining for well over a minute, and you still haven't, and now you're building like 5 spore crawlers to counter something that doesn't exist. Everything, like, this is... So your scouting did nothing for you. It did nothing. Literally, like, you just did not react. And now, you're scouting, and it's hurting you because, one, even if you do scout something, you're gonna react wrong. That's part one. No matter what, either you're gonna ignore it, or you're gonna do something wrong. And two, it makes you bank up 1,800 minerals for no fucking reason. So, the struggle is, one, your scouting keeps you from doing anything else, and two, it doesn't help you in the first place. Because now we're making 6 spore crawlers because we have post-traumatic liberation disorder right now. And 6 spore crawlers, that's like a quarter of your economy almost. It's a fifth of your economy is now into spore crawlers because of the one liberator that came in 2 minutes after you scouted the liberator, after you had 4 queens. And you still have 1,700 minerals.
Смотри на миникарту, не будь как я.
I love this. It's like, well, now that he's made 1 liberator, he's honor-bound to commit to 15 more liberators, which is the only way that you could justify building 10 fucking spore crawlers at this stage of the game. Shouldn't I learn to scout better then and react better? No. I mean, I can't get better at that if I don't scout. Okay, so here's your logic. I'm gonna break this down because it's not getting through. Let me break down the entire point here. If this is your takeaway, no. The problem is when you think you're wrong. Okay, let me put a comment in there. When you use your brain and put information into it, the wrong stuff comes out. We're not trying to fix that. We're not trying to fix that part. We're trying to skip it. We're gonna skip the brain part. Okay? There's a reason that people complain about Zerg. It's because you can just max out on a bunch of units and punish people of other races that actually have to try to use micro. But if your thought process is one that leads you to, I scouted him, I didn't do anything, a unit showed up, and I didn't kill it, and then I didn't do anything, and then 2 minutes later, I'm reacting to that 1 unit. And then this, and then you say this. Once again, we're trying to just jump. We're not trying to cross the river. We're not trying to wade through it and figure out how to go against the current. We're trying to build a fucking bridge over the top of the damn river right now. Because otherwise you're gonna fucking drown, and I can't stop that. At this point, I am convinced there is no way I can stop that. So, we're gonna max out on 200 supply roaches until you get to diamond, and then we can start thinking again. Alright, just back to the thinking part. What are these banelings for? What are the spore crawlers for? And what are the banelings for? What is the thought process here? Just, this will be the last time I ask. Marines, I think. Have you even seen a Marine this entire game? Oh my. And what are the spore crawlers for? He saw a Marine at the top of the ramp at the beginning of the game that killed the Ovi. Okay, that happened at one point. For Banshees and Liberators. Okay. It's also very simple. If you spend the entire game trying to react to your opponent and counter your opponent, most of the time, at the very minimum, you'll be one step behind. Because you're waiting for them to do something. Jesus Christ.
Войска стали быстрее.
And now we're going to build 30 more Zerglings. So, doesn't it stand to reason, if he could have Banshees or Liberators, he could use them to attack the front? In which case, we may want some units to deal with that. Or ever get upgrades. You know what? It's over. We're well past the point of, rational. We are well past. Well past.
Минеральный кристалл.
This is like the most platinum Zerg of platinum Zergs.
Скоро нам будет нужна новая база.
Look, another Liberator! This calls for 14 more... Were these games played back-to-back? 14 more spores! How did he get in with all that anti-air? I mean, got him. No! Shit.
Hey, Winter.
Okay.
Smile I made it to build his chariot. After watching this replay, you might question
Ah, yes,
that.
mute us.
Дело кончается. Может, войска в бою. Сомкни ряды.
Possibly the only unit. Hey, the mutas did pretty well.
Скоро...
Once we skipped over the point of trying to think about what your opponent is doing to the point of building units and having an economy, it's going okay.
Новая база.
I mean, no upgrades, no baneling speed, not a great unit composition, but like, now that we have everything, if we could just, like I said, just skip it. We're skipping the first 6 minutes. Just skip it entirely, alright? Just going straight up to 60 drones and 200 supply of roaches or something. Whatever. Or even mute a baneling. But just skip the first 60. There will be some games you do lose to, like, bunker rushes, but they will be very small in comparison to the ones won.
Твои зерги талантированы.
Oh god.
Войска стали быстрее, выше, сильнее.
6 Vipers. So how many of these Vipers use their spells without dying to turrets, marines, or Widowmines, guess?
Функционировал. Минеральный кристалл из...
He has the bottom left.
Минеральный кристалл. Войска стали быстрее, выше, сильнее.
All these banelings and still... Oh, baneling speed is done. Never mind. I'll take it all back.
Но это не точно. Беспеновый
It's so
гейзер
weird to have that on
истощен.
fire.
Скоро нам будет нужна новая база.
And you see, the problem is, as I mentioned a while back when we got to this, is it's not about the almighty capital ships and how strong they are. It's about the fact that they exist because of how much of a dumpster fire the first 10 minutes were. Blinding Cloud doesn't work on Widow Mines, it does work on turrets, and also it doesn't work on ground because the ground doesn't shoot at you usually.
Мутация завершена.
But on the brights? Okay.
Твои... Смотри. Карту, базу.
It does work on turrets. No, I said it does work on turrets. But building a Viper to Blinding Cloud one turret at a time is not an incredible investment.
Скоро нам
Yeah, at
будет
least he's
нужна
using them.
новая база.
Also, yeah, 8 Vipers is approximately 6 too many Vipers. But now we're having a conversation. Now we finally gotten to the economy. Well, we're down to 50 drones. Okay. We're just waiting for the attack into turrets and widow mines to lose all these units, so that way we can get back to the almighty capital ships.
Сомкнуть ряды. Минеральный кристалл истощен. Войска в бою. Сомкнуть ряды.
Do we lose the Baneling nest at some point? I guess. Can't attack without more Banes. Just gotta wait it out.
Наши войска перед боем. Газ закончился. Переводи рабочих. Скоро нам будет нужна новая база.
No, like, the thing is, at this stage of the game, securing 4 or 5 bases and making sure the Terran only has, like, 1, that's fine. That's fine. But the way you screw it up is by just not building the army. Like, building a bunch of extra Vipers. Viper's not incredible against battlecruisers. Here's a fun fact. Fungal keeps them from being able to use tactical jump. So if you actually want to catch the battlecruisers, this is actually the time for infestors. And also, if you have 5 bases, you don't need to attack your opponent, who's on 3 bases.
Смотри на миникарту. Не будь как я. Противник атакует наше здание. Скоро нам будет...
More Zerglings should cut it, though. More Zerglings and Banelings are the cost-efficient choice. Banelings known for their cost-effectiveness. Did every single Baneling die? No, not all of them.
Минералы кончаются. Может, пробов перевести?
Yeah, this is Alex 007's announcer, yeah. I assume he'll be commentating at Star Ladder WCS Spring and Summer in Kiev. If you would just, like, what have the Banelings accomplished? How many Banelings? I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this game isn't even over yet. I wanna see how many Banelings die. Take a guess how many Banelings die by the end of this game and how many kills. Well, I don't know if it'll tell how many kills they get. 182 Banelings, which is about 4,000 something gas of Banelings. Oh wait. Was this the right game? Yeah. Jesus Christ. All you need to not do is throw away all your units into siege tanks, turrets, and battle cruisers. Like, if this is his only base, he's gonna run out of money and gas. But, like, what is trying to kill him going to accomplish? I'm looking at the wrong guy now. It's like, alright, so, I killed most of his ground units. What do we do? Give me, like, 100 more fucking Zerglings. That'll do it. That's the ticket. Looks like it will do it. I was wrong. What? Oh, yeah, you lost everything. That's fine. The Vipers live. I'll give credit for this. Not using the select army hotkey, really. I mean, I think on occasion, but... Now, I'm trying to tell you to build armies that should use the select army hotkey. But overall, that's going to be a D+ from me. I would have believed gold. I definitely would have believed gold. Like, the, not just reaction, it's not even really a reaction. I just don't know. Like, you just gotta skip thinking in the first 7 minutes of the game. You just gotta skip it. Just no more thinking. No more, just